Welcome to a Backyard Ultra podcast. In this podcast, Tim Walsh from Dead Cow Gully and Nicole Jukes from Backyard Ultra Australia came on and we recapped the year of 2022. Here we go. Okay, g'day Nicole and Tim, how are you going?
Hi Pato, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, awesome, thanks.
Good, thanks Pato. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Are you fired up to talk about the year that's been?
I'm pretty excited to talk about the year that's been. It's been a really big year in Backyard Ultras. There's been a lot of races, a lot of records broken. The Australian record got broken several times. And there's quite a lot of new races too that have popped up.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of new ones lined up for next year too, isn't there?
Yeah, I think, Tim, do you have one next year?
Yeah, I might have to put that on ice, Nicole. It's just a little bit busy with the Masters, the Backyard Masters. So the Bull Camp Backyard Ultra. I think I'll just hold a training run. It's just it's a bit too hectic. I think the schedule. Yeah.
I saw on Aura there was a logo and a tentative date on there.
Yeah, I had to pull it, Pato. I just, to be honest, I still haven't measured out the course. So that's not really ideal preparation. But, it's just finding the time because I'm just juggling my normal day job, which is disability care. And then just to get ready for this upcoming training run, which is January 7, I've spent, the best part of 2 weeks trying to get the course ready. So, it's a bit of work.
Well, you've got a big year coming up. You've got the Masters as well.
Yeah. It's. I hope to see you there, and I think you'll probably qualify. Pato, you seem to be an up and coming runner.
Well, I'm determined to qualify, but you may have heard me say on other podcasts, like I was going to do the Devils there. No, I told you when we talked last, I was going to do Devils there. But I thought that was my best chance to do 35, but now I've only just got the one. I've got the MVP in Feb. But look, I'm so determined, like I'm pretty sure I'll do it. I've marked off in my calendar the dates, so.
When can you qualify up till, Tim, for that?
I think it's May 1st. I'm pretty sure that was the date. So there's still time. Look, I've even had others contact me saying, there's not enough events on the calendar. So one guy I've set out a challenge to just, if he can clock up 100 miles in 24 hours, we'll just put him down as a wild card entry. So if you contact me, because there's still places available, just contact me. We can work something out. Yeah.
Awesome. Are you doing it, Nicole?
No, I will not be participating in Masters. Sorry, Tim. I have another goal that weekend. So that's the same weekend as BVRT 100, and that's the Australian Marla Championship. So going to have a little crack at that one, I think.
Awesome. So that's 100 miles, is it? Or 200? Okay.
Oh, well, there is 200 as well, but it's the 100-mile championship.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nicole, what's the female record for 100 miles?
So it's on the BVRT. I forget who it was. Was it Kathleen Judge or something? It's just over 19 hours.
Do you think you'll give that a crack?
I'll give it a crack. I'll always give it a crack, but you just never know how these things pan out. Could crash and burn. Yeah.
Well, what Backyard Ultras do you have on your radar for 2023?
Me?
Yeah.
So Dead Cow Gully, of course. What else? I will be doing, I've got my eye on Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to do the team event by AAA Racing later in the year. I really like that race. And probably Old Mate's Backyard.
Yeah, that looks like a good one.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty keen to get there. That's Josh Duff's race, so yeah, that should be a good one.
Yeah, that looked awesome. I loved how hard it looked.
Yeah. And there's just so much more at play at that one because the temperature soars. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, so humid as well.
Yeah.
So I've got you would have both received the categories that I came up with for like the 2022, I'll just say awards.
Mm-hmm.
But, I thought maybe we'll start, if you guys are ready, with standout performance of the year.
Yeah, so I've got a few for this one. And I want to start by saying these categories were so hard to come up with someone. Like, you can't just pick one because there's just so many good runners at every level. The people running 1 yard or 6 yards or 24 or 50, it's insane the effort that everyone is putting into this sort of format. So standout performance. So I've got 3 actually. My first being Nikki Wind. So she debuted at Clint Eastwood with 36 yards. She'd never done a backyard ultra before and just straight to 36. She was the last female standing there. John Yoon. So he debuted at Clint Eastwood. He did 41 yards there. That was his first time. And then he went on to the World's team where he did an extra 10 more yards with 51, which is just insane. And then I'm going to say Josh Duff. So he did Dead Cow Gully and he was the assist. So he comes from a triathlon background and he just rocked up to Dead Cow Gully and knocked out 36 yards and was Barry Loveday's assist. So yeah, they're my 3.
Yeah, nice. I was going to say, like, because I had John Yoon on a couple of weeks ago and we talked about the Clint Eastwood race, and it was really funny because he didn't even know about the Satellite World Championships.
Oh, yeah.
He ran the whole race and didn't actually know. No one said one word to him about it. He got home back to Melbourne, and then he got a phone call, like, offering him for a spot in the team, and he didn't even know about it.
Yeah. I just love it when these people just turn up to this format because you either, I see it all the time, they either turn up never having done one and they either do really well or they can be really great elite ultra runners and turn up and just not do well at all in this type of format. So yeah, it's interesting to watch.
What about you, Tim?
So can you just name the categories, mate? I just don't want to get mixed up here.
Yeah. So I've got standout performance of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I've got runner of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Moment of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Race of the year. Runner or runners to watch in 2023. And predictions for 2023.
Okay, so the first one was that performance of the year?
Yeah.
So for me, most of these categories I think are dominated by the satellite champs, so the Miriam Wernert. And so I think Rob Parsons for me was a real standout. So he achieved 73 yards, and I believe you were there to witness that, Pato. And it was just a phenomenal race. Like I had goosebumps, like, because I think by about 40 yards, we still had probably 10 people in the game, 10 or 12 people in the game. And you picked it, Pato. You picked a big total. I had reservations about it because of the start time plus the elevation of the course. I was sort of thinking we'd be lucky to get 48 or 50, but you picked it, mate. You picked a big number, and Rob Parsons, he beat his PB by 29 yards.
Yeah.
That's 194 Ks. So if you did 29 yards in a backyard ultra, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But he beat his PB by 29 yards. So, yeah, Rob Parsons, didn't know much about him. I think the Western Australian crew knew what he was capable of. They knew he was pretty tough, but what really surprised me was just his strong mental game. He didn't seem to be phased. He just constantly came in around 52, 53 minutes. He wasn't, he never really seemed to be rattled. He was always the last runner coming in. And he could have kept on going. Like when he finished, he didn't collapse in a heap. He actually looked the strongest runner out there. So I know Phil was surprised when Rob dropped out, but I just don't think he was prepared to take on Phil and head towards 100. I don't think he really was immensely prepared for that. But yeah, I think he's one to watch and probably the performance of the year. But alongside Margie Hadley, so she got the record. So she took that off Jessica Smith, and she got 47 yards. And again, didn't know much about Margie. Heard a bit about her, but didn't know her personally. Cancer survivor, very humble, and she just seemed to go about her business very low key. And you soon realise that I think she's a real powerhouse.
Yeah.
In the backyard ultra for sure.
Mm. She's she's got a really good all round ultra running resume as well. Like she's been in the 24-hour track team and the 100K Australian team too. So
yeah, that's true. Yep.
Yeah, I went pretty. I just went the pretty obvious stuff for standout performance of the year. Phil Gore and the White Canyon at Murrumbidgee with their 76 yards.
Yeah.
And then the White Canyon and Kevin Muller at the Clint Eastwood with 59.
Yeah.
But I also put down Ben Nichols and Matt Doobie at MVP with 41 yards because it's a really hard course. It was in the middle of summer. It was absolutely scorching, and they both proved how good they are with their performances at Murrumbidgee, especially Ben Nichols. He went into the 50s, so that they were my three for the standout performances of the year.
Yeah, nice.
That reminds me, we'll just change topic for a second. With the Masters, how many runners have you got confirmed at the moment, Tim?
I think we have about 38 to 40. So I released another 10 slots a couple of weeks ago, and they filled in pretty quickly. So there's still more local entries up for grabs. Probably another 8 local entries, and there's another 8 wildcard entries. So we want to cap this at about 60 max. So
Tim, are a lot of those runners, are they doing Dead Cow Gully?
Yeah, some of them are, and I offered them a full refund. I honestly don't want them going big at Dead Cow because
that works well for me. Thank you.
Yeah, look, there's a few ways of looking at it. There could be a bit of cat and mouse happening because you can have some big runners at Dead Cow and no one knows, are they going to go for it or are they going to hold themselves back for the Masters, which will be in about 9 weeks from Dead Cow. So it's going to be really interesting.
A lot of these people, though, they do back up constantly, big race after big race. So
yeah, I mean, I think some people just can't help it. I think if they've signed up to a race, like Ryan Crawford's a classic example. I can't see him just pulling out at 24 yards. Yeah, but I mean, God, I also think, would you really want to risk it when Harvey Lewis is coming out? And
You've got a big contingent from New Zealand coming out. Would you really want to risk injury? So that's something every runner's going to have to think about.
Yeah.
What would you do? What would you do, Nicole? If it was you?
I've made my decision.
But if you were signed up for both, this is a hypothetical. If you were signed up for both, what would you do if you were one of these runners?
Well, I feel like I'm a bit like Ryan Crawford, and I'd just go for it. When you're in the moment and it's all going to plan and suddenly everything's coming into place, you don't stop. If you think you might have the race of your life, I don't think I could stop.
Could you personally recover after 9 weeks, like physically, mentally, and just doing the same course again 9 weeks later?
Well, you know how I feel about Dead Cow Gully course, so probably. But yeah, I guess some people it might be mentally draining.
There is the second, isn't there a night course at the Masters as well? There will be 2 separate courses.
Yeah. I rode on that course this afternoon. So yeah, that's so you the night loop, you come down Walsh Road, then turn left onto Runnymede Road, and it's just a nice bitumen out and back. So I haven't measured the elevation yet, but I'm guessing it would be. I think it would be under 20, 15 to 20 meters at the most.
Oh, really? So it's pretty flat. Yeah.
It's pretty flat. Yeah.
Is that definitely happening? A night loop?
For the Masters, yeah. So we'll see how it goes anyway. I mean, Harvey Lewis, he requested that. That was a part of the conditions for him coming out. He wanted it to be as close as Biggs as possible. Yeah, so the trail loop, the night loop, and he thinks ultimately with that the runners will go a lot longer because you've got that variation there. And some runners like trail, some like road, and the only issue for me is just there's got to be like a traffic management plan in place and because it's a public road.
Yeah.
So I just have to organise a few details.
Yeah.
It is the perfect timing for like getting ready for bigs, like the perfect race to prepare for bigs, like it's crew and everything like that. Because I understand at bigs you can only have one crew member as well. You can't have more than one. So I think it's a perfect opportunity for the runners who are going to bigs to practice their strategy for bigs.
I checked out the Gully a couple of days ago too, and look, the positive is the water is going down. So with the heat we've had up here, it's really soaking up a lot of those puddles. So if we can use the Gully, I'll definitely put it in, because it is, like Nicole can probably tell you, it really makes the event. I mean, that's where we get the name from, Dead Cow Gully, and it's definitely a highlight going through there. And I know a lot of runners were bummed out that we couldn't use the Gully.
Yeah, at first I was bummed out that we weren't doing the Gully, but then after a few hours on the alternative grass track, I was okay with it.
We're thankful. Yeah.
So you already know it's going to be too wet, like come April, for that you won't be running the Gully. Is that right? Am I hearing?
Yeah, well, it's just the weather system we've had up here, Pat. I think I mentioned it last time. It's like a 1 in 50 year event, and our creek's been running constantly ever since probably since Dead Cow, probably since March or April. So it's very, very, very unique circumstances up here, and it just takes a long time for it to sort of drain out. And there's there's all these like bogs around the property where water's just sort of lying there. So yeah, mate, if just say if we didn't get much rain, if we didn't get those summer storms, there might even be a chance we can use the Gully for dead cow and for the Masters. But yeah, I just don't want to get people excited or make any promises.
Yeah, fair enough.
I love it. I love it down there because it's a different ecosystem, mate. Like I had a little walk through there. It's just so different from the rest of the course.
Yeah.
Once you're down there, it's yeah, such a cool little environment.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Should we talk about runner of the year?
Runner of the year. Oh, this is the big one. So I'll let you go first, Pato.
Oh, okay. Well, I went for the obvious choice, Phil Gore. Phil Gore.
Yeah.
He won all 3 backyard ultras he ran in. He's the current Australian record holder with the 76 yards. And apart from backyard ultras, he also ran 250 Ks in a 24-hour track race. There's only 10 men who run further than him. In Australian history, that is. And he also gives a lot back to the sport with his race volunteering and his articles to Aura as well. So he's not just an awesome runner, but he gives a lot back too. And I just couldn't go past him.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
What do you think, Tim?
Oh, okay. Look, I think it's Phil Gore. I think the runner of the year, 76 yards. I met Phil for the first time at Mirren-Wernett, so I'd been texting back and forth with him. I met him and Gemma for the first time. So he's a very interesting guy. So a lot of people train for these events, and they've got really good training plans. But what separates Phil is his race preparation. I don't think anyone prepares for a race like Phil. So he's got a plan for everything. He's got a sleep plan, which is, in my opinion, that's what won it for him on the day. He's got a food nutrition plan. He's got multiple crew. He's got a plan for each loop. He changes clothes regularly, has different shoes, different sunglasses. And what I think he does is he deliberately has variation for each loop. So if you can have a shower, if you can change your clothes, change your shoes, you can actually feel like a new runner.
Yeah, that's true. Clean your teeth.
And that's what stops that monotony and boredom and that sort of which can kind of wear you down over time. So Phil just mastered it, and I think everyone at the event, particularly on the East Coast, who hadn't really come across Phil, I think they've all gone back to the drawing plan and they're thinking, how can I be more like Phil when it comes to race prep? It's just ridiculous what he does.
Yeah.
But I think that's what you need to get those big loops and to win an event.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons also why the Masters is going to be so important for someone like Phil, because he can try all the strategies, because he's not going to be able to approach it the same way he did at Mirren-Wernett. He's probably not going to be able to have a shower. He's only going to have the one crew with him. It's going to be a lot different. I reckon he'll probably try and mirror the conditions at Biggs and try and use the Masters to practice that.
Yeah.
And the good thing about Phil, and you mentioned this, Pato, is he does give a lot. Like he's not secretive. Like in your podcast interview with him, he actually goes through how he prepares for a race. Yeah. So anyone can listen to that. And I think he is trying to help others who are getting into the game and want to go big. So definitely Phil Gore for me is the runner of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a good teammate. Like he's often, like on Strava, he's often running with more than like with friends and other people. So yeah.
Well, I couldn't pick just one. So obviously, yes, Phil Gore, he's done 3 backyard ultras this year, all over 50 yards, also the Australian record. So he's an obvious pick. But I wanted to point out Margie Hadley. So she's done 4 this year. She's now the female record holder. So her previous BYU record was 38 yards, and then she went to 47 so that's really impressive. But I also wanted to point out Kevin Muller. So he's a phenomenal runner, and he's done so well this year. So his previous backyard ultra record, I think, was 42 hours at Clint Eastwood in 21. And then obviously he was Ryan Crawford's assist at Clint Eastwood this year, where he did 58 hours. And he did all of that. So he did that after only a few weeks before. He was, doing the 50K at Glass House, where he was first. He did the 24-hour at Southern Sydney. He's just race after race consistent. So yeah, he's a great runner, and I want to add him to one of the backyard ultra runners of the year.
Yeah, sure. He was also one of the last ones standing at Hysterical Carnage when it got cancelled.
Correct.
As well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I reckon they would have gone pretty far if that didn't get cancelled.
I was excited to see how that race would end up. There was some really good names there.
So it's a unanimous then, Phil Gore with a special mention to Margie Hadley then, I guess.
Yeah, and Kevy.
Oh, yeah, and Kevy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Moment of the year.
Yeah. So
there's so many. I picked 4.
Yeah, I couldn't pick. Like personally, I've had incredible moments in backyard ultras. But I wanted to mention, and I don't know which race this was from, but it was recent, and I don't know the fellow's name, so maybe one of you two know. But the guy who DNF'd in the first 30 seconds of a race, do you remember that?
I heard about someone.
Yeah.
It might be someone else. So someone went to their car at the start of the first loop, and Laz was watching the live stream.
Yes.
And he said, "Nah, that's against the rules. He's got it."
So I thought that was a moment. That was a moment worth mentioning. But one of my personal favourite moments was at Dead Cow Gully, watching Zach Willard finish his lap. So yeah, Zach's a mate of ours, of Tim, and he's just incredible. He did the whole loop and he made it back in time. And I think if he does one next year, I think he'll probably double his distance. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, just for people who don't know Zach, so he's got spina bifida, and so he has issues just walking, let alone running. I took him out the other day. We were in Redcliffe a couple of weeks ago. And I just did a bit of a 10K on the front, and he did a 5K, and he was absolutely trashed after that 5K. So he did it in 58 minutes, and his ankles were wrecked. Like he had pain for a few days, and that was just walking. That was walking the 5K in 58 minutes. And I said to him, mate, you did an extra 1.7 Ks at Dead Cow.
Yeah.
And came in around 58 minutes. Just if you can just sort of wrap your head around that. So Drew was with him the whole way and pushing him. And for Zach, he said it to me. He said that was actually probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And he was at that halfway point, he was just cooked. He was wrecked. So if it wasn't for Drew, I think he would have probably just he would have timed out, or he would have probably just stopped halfway.
Oh, it was
So,
amazing. It was it was just one of those moments, a goosebump moment. It's really good to see.
It was well captured in the doco as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But probably my moment. I mean, obviously Zach's right up there, but I witnessed Ryan Crawford in those last couple of loops, and just to see him, like completely out of it and sleep deprived.
Was this at Worlds?
Yeah, this is Miran Werner. Yeah, and I was just, I've never seen anyone like that. Like, it was just, although it obviously had a lot to do with Ryan, but yeah, just getting him back into the starting corral, him not really knowing where he was or if the race was still on, and it just to see someone sleep deprived. Like he said to me that when he was running, he thought he saw me out on a tractor in the paddock.
Yeah.
I think he was waving at me on a tractor.
Yeah.
I said, mate, I'm not on a tractor.
I love that.
Yeah, I
so
heard
it was
yeah.
You know what? Like Harvey Lewis, his battles with Courtney Dolewater, it was sleep deprivation, which really, which was sort of, which is why, I think him and Courtney, when Courtney got that new world record, he just went out in one loop and he didn't know where he was, and he was just absolutely out of it. So, in conversations with Harvey, he actually, that's, once you get in those later loops, that's something that you have to train yourself to do. So during his lunch breaks at school, he he walks into a closet and just tries to get a couple of minutes sleep, and just sort of trains himself just to sleep for 2 or 3 minutes.
Wow.
And that's what he does in his lunch breaks. And he's sort of, he seems to think that you can train yourself to just sleep at the drop of a hat. Most of us can't, but yeah, if you're in the business of backyard ultras, I think it's really something you got to think about. And I know Ryan, it's definitely something that he's looking at is the sleep plan, sleep preparation.
Yeah, I know for Ryan, he does a lot of meditation between laps. So not so much sleeping. He even does like meditation as he's walking.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I know I've personally tried to sleep between laps before, and it made me really nauseous. I did it for a couple of laps one year at Clint Eastwood, and I just remember waking up to that whistle, and suddenly I just felt so nauseous. And then, so it was part of the game plan then for Dead Cow Gully to not sleep. And I had the best race I've ever had. So yeah, I guess it comes down to each person. But yeah, to go long, you definitely have to sleep, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the video that it was on 2 videos actually. You would have probably seen the one the article about Phil Gore on Channel 7 News in WA, and it showed a little bit. It showed a small snippet of Ryan Crawford on his chair between loops, and it looked like he was pretending he was trying to stay awake, but he was actually really trying to. He was just really going. It looked so. You've got to watch it. It's so funny. I've got my moments of the year. I've got 4. I've got Evo and Maren both finishing together on 101 yards.
Yeah,
in Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was poetic, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first heard it, I thought, I would have liked to have seen a battle and see how far, see what could have happened. But after thinking about it and after speaking to them as well, I kind of understood why they finished together on 101.
Yeah.
And they mentioned that like there were a lot of people there, and they weren't there to watch a battle. They were there to watch them break 100.
Yeah.
And once they did that, it was pretty much job well done.
I also think it comes back to like the whole backyard ultra format. It's about community, right? I think some people have probably lost that along the way. But that's a perfect example right there. Like at the end of the day, it's not about the number one or anything like that. It's community. It's backyard ultras.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Well said, Nicole. Hey, Pato, can I just jump in for a second?
Yeah.
What was your key takeaway from your interview with the Belgians?
There was a few things, but probably the most they were really into mindset. Like their most important thing was mindset. They were, when I was asking them about their next backyard ultra they're going to do, they're probably not going to do another one before Bigs. And as long as they're fit going into it without any injuries, as long as they've got that mindset, they're confident they'll be able to do well.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So more about mind than physical.
Yeah. Their mindset, and then second was crew, but definitely mindset was their number one.
Did it strike you, Pato, they don't seem to have big egos? Like, they've done a pretty incredible thing, and they seem to be very, very humble and very low key, and just sort of gentle guys.
Yeah, yeah, really nice, yeah, low key, nice guys. Just, yeah, they're not hardcore dudes. They're just like quite nice guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Also, I was surprised. Like, I thought, like, when I've done backyard ultras, I change my socks. I went through about 8 pairs of socks in 22 hours. They went through they only changed their socks once, each of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
In one.
I'd hate to do that washing.
Yeah.
I think you might throw those ones away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But their main thing was
thinking, oh no, I think I'd keep them.
If they said though, if they got their feet really wet, then they would change them. But it didn't rain much, so they said if they're working, why change them?
Yeah,
and it goes with the shoe and sock combination.
Mm.
So I'm not going to worry about that as much for my next race. I've got Australia coming third in this Satellite World Champs.
Yeah,
Definitely worth it. That's a huge thing, I think.
Yeah.
Nicole Jukes breaking the female dead cow gully record with 30 yards.
Definitely.
Definitely. That was an awesome moment in the doco. And another one for Miriam Wernert, you'd remember this one, Tim, is Ross McPhee just going yard after yard after yard with like an obviously badly hurt leg.
Yeah.
He kept on going and going and going. I reckon he went for at least 15 hours longer than anyone thought he would, just because his leg looked like it was hurting that much. Do you remember that, Tim?
I felt bad for him, mate. Like, I felt like giving him like a walking frame, but it was against the rules. But he looked like he should be in a nursing home. Like he was just, there's no way when he started the loop that you would think that he would finish in time. Like, not a chance.
Yeah.
Like, when it first happened, I think we're all looking around thinking, okay, you can cross this guy off.
Yeah.
But what did you say? Did he do another 15?
It felt like it. Well, he did 49 in total, and it was definitely around the 30s when we noticed it.
Was that something broken? Did he break something, or just?
I think it was just a strain. It was something to do with his calf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he told me it was easier running than walking. He could, once he started running, it wasn't too bad, but it was just walking that he could barely walk, and you had a hill straight up. So I thought it was something to do with the knee, but maybe I was wrong.
No, it could have been. It could have been. It looked like his whole leg was hurting. Every part of his leg. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Everyone felt sorry for him as well because he qualified for the race by winning the Mirror earlier in the year on the actual paddock.
Yeah.
So he was really keen to run the whole thing on the paddock, and then it got moved to the road, which wasn't what he was planning for.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people were feeling sorry for him because of that as well.
Really top guy as well. Really good family. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, Pato, I'm not sure if you experienced this, but everyone I met down there were just pretty good people.
Yeah,
and there really was a Team Australia bond.
Yeah,
Which I mean, the last one at Clint Eastwood, it was a bit odd because you had the COVID restrictions, so it was virtually it was all Queensland runners. People just couldn't get into the state. So, but this one really had a national feel. You know, you had the big crew from WA come over. You had the Victorians and you had Queenslanders and you had the boy from Tassie, Ben Hurst.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just I did get goosebumps. I just thought we're witnessing something special here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Race of the year. That was definitely race of the year for mine.
Nicole?
Yeah, race of the year. So from a personal perspective, from my own personal racing, obviously there were two for me, which was Dead Cow Gully, where I broke the female course record, and of course States of Origin, where I was the first Australian female to win a backyard ultra. So they would be my personal races of the year.
Yeah.
But as a spectator, I would say Clint Eastwood, when it was Ryan and Kevin. It was just amazing to watch because I was there firsthand, just watching it unfold and watching Kevin go from a PB of 42 to 58 hours, and Ryan, I think his previous PB, I could be wrong, was 44 hours at Dead Cow Gully in 21, then went to 59 hours. Like just watching them, it was amazing. They just kept getting up, and so that's probably mine.
Nicole, who was the third runner at Clint Eastwood? Number 3.
Eastwood this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Baz.
Oh, that was Baz.
Yeah, Barry Loveday. So he did 44, and then Kevy did 58. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah, Ryan and Kevin were running alone for, a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was at the Clint Eastwood, I was there too, and there was real hope that they would just go through the whole night. I think
I remember Kevin. Yeah, he hadn't taken leave.
He's got to work tomorrow or something.
He's like, I've got to work in the morning. Didn't take leave off. He's been running for however many days, and he's like, I've got to go to work in the morning.
That's what when I was speaking to John Woon, he said when he finished at Mirror, it was like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And he went home, slept, and then worked the next day.
Yeah.
Oh. God.
Crazy.
Hardcore.
They are hardcore.
Yeah. But I think the other good thing about the Mirror race, the Satellite World Championships, was you mentioned, Tim, like you're getting all the states together. And a lot of them had never met each other either. So it was special for that reason. It was one of the good things, I guess, about Australia being so big is it's rare to get all the best runners together, and when they do, it's a special occasion. Whereas with other countries, like, I don't know, some of those smaller European countries, like it's the same runners every time.
But it was definitely the race of the year for me.
Yeah.
And
you got to be there too, Tim.
Yeah, no, I was very lucky. I mean, I did pay for it myself to get down there, but
yeah. Were you crewing? Did you crew Ben Hurst? No.
No, I kind of crewed for him up at Clint Eastwood, but no, I was just down there to do social media because I just didn't think anyone was covering it like loop by loop. So yeah, I snuck in down there, and I wanted to meet the WA crew as well because a lot of them had signed up to the Masters. But yeah, I found that I found Team Australia's performance really inspirational, even for myself. Like just the way they went about it, and I really don't think Australia was on the world radar for backyard ultras because 2 years ago Chris Murphy got 46. Is that right? 46?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So we can add another 30 yards onto that. So I think Laz was in the know, and I know that he knew Australia had a pretty good team. I think Australian race directors knew that a lot of the runners were very capable, and they were, in many respects, the totals we were achieving in Australia. I think most of us thought, well, we could go a lot bigger than that. We just need the right circumstances where we got the big guns all together in the one event. So yeah, everyone thought there'd be a bit of a showdown between Ryan Crawford and Phil Gore, and that's what ended up happening. Then you throw in Rob Parsons, and he's a guy I think he's really one to watch. But the fact that we came third in the world, I think it's really positive signs for Australia going forward, and I think the whole backyard ultra world is like, oh, hang on, you know what? There's something going on in Australia, like to get that total, and because people knew about the Belgians, they knew about the Belgians from last time. They know about the US, they know about Japan. They're a fairly strong team, but I don't think Australia was really in the mix. But we certainly are now.
Yeah, we are
big time, and it's
and we're just going to keep getting better and better.
Exactly, and I think I've spoken to Ryan and Phil and then a few others, and I think they will be aiming for 100. I think Australia is going to have their own breaking 100 moment. I think that's what they'll be shooting for.
Are you planning on going to any other backyard ultras next year, Tim, just to cover the social side of things, or are you not sure yet?
I'd like to, mate, but it is a big expense. You know, you've got the airfares, accommodation, car hire, plus it's the loss of income for being away for 4 or 5 days. So I'll probably just I won't do much next year. I might leave it to someone else to to carry the torch.
If I could,
I really do enjoy it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, you did a good job. You were out on court doing on-course interviews and stuff like that. It was really good.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I really do enjoy it. But I mean, I wasn't doing much. I basically got what I wanted, and then I'd go back to the hotel for a few hours. I wasn't like the crew. I wasn't like Gemma Gore, who was there the whole time. Probably the most heartbreaking moment was Jessica Smith.
Oh yeah.
That was just
that was shocking. That moment, it was.
And people were crying. People were crying.
I can imagine.
Phil Gore actually shed a few tears. He doesn't show his emotions much, but he was really cut up. I think the whole WA crew was cut up.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Jess. I think she's amazing as a runner and as a person. And to have something like that not work out the way that you wanted it to, it would be devastating.
I think the key takeaway, really, if you can, is to have 2 crew on rotation. I know a lot of people just turn up with one crew, and that's all they can afford if they're coming from interstate. But just to have a plan for the crew to rotate, because who's actually looking after the crew? Like if the crew are days, what's happening there? So.
And I recently did an interview with Gemma Gore, and that was one of her key takeaways was, as a crew, don't forget to look after yourself, look after each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I think it shocked everyone, and I gave Jess a big hug that next day, and it was just it was just a sense of sadness because she was the first one. She was the first one to go.
Yeah.
And she really wanted to break that record as well. So but Jess, being the good person she was, she got right behind Margie, and she celebrated Margie's win.
Yeah. It's really great sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Well, Jess is on my list as one of the people to watch next year, because I think she's had a big taste of what she's capable of, and she'll have the fire now because she's missed out on something, and so I think she's just gonna come in guns blazing.
Is she going to the Masters, Tim?
Oh yeah, she signed up. Yep, her and Margie, big time.
Yeah.
Do you think there's something happening, Pato and Nicole, with, I'm not sure if it's just a coincidence, but there's a bit of a movement happening with triathletes and people who do Ironman and stuff. They're actually sneaking across to backyard ultras and just ultras in general. Do you think that's... I mean, to me, Josh Duff was a massive surprise. He came out of nowhere. And now we've got...
and they're really good at it too, some of them. Like Josh, I think before Dead Cow Gully, the furthest he'd gone in a single run was 100K. And then he went and did something like over 240K or something at D3. So they have the endurance.
What do you think it is? Is it something to do with their training? Is it using different parts of the body? Is it the cycling? Is it their capacity to just endure lots of pain over a long period? Like what?
I think they're trained to push through pain.
And I think also they know how to train.
Yeah.
Well, train for big races, because those triathletes, they train like,
it's insane,
like 25 hours a week and stuff like that.
Across 3 disciplines.
And also I think because they do use cross training to keep fit as well, so if they're feeling a kneel coming along with their running, they might spend a week or 2 on the bike instead to keep their fitness.
Yeah. Whereas us ultra runners are just stubborn and we'll just keep running through it.
But I think ultra running is getting more and more popular as well, than it was a few.
I think people are intrigued by it, especially the backyard ultra format. When you tell people about it, their interest is piqued. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's also try that.
like because it's something that they can imagine that they could possibly give it a try.
Yeah. Why do you ask that, Tim, about triathletes? Is there someone signed up for Masters?
Well, I feel so bad. What's that lady's name you're very impressed with?
Holly Ranson.
Holly Ranson. I've been thinking about it for the past half an hour. I can't. Yeah, Holly Ranson. I've called her up and I listened to your podcast, and she comes from that sort of Ironman background, right? And she is
one of the last ones in at Hysterical Carnage when it was stopped at 30 hours.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And what did she do? She broke the record Pato, with
the Australian record for 12-hour timed ultra, 136 Ks.
Was that on a track, or do you know?
Well, I was there. That's how I.
Yeah.
And it was around a lake, so it wasn't even an athletics track. It was kind of like a mix between pavers and concrete.
Yeah. And how far did she go?
136 Ks.
Wow.
Yeah, just an absolute machine. I'd never seen anything like it before.
Yeah.
I was blown away, and it was so hot as well. Like, it was over in Adelaide. It was about 30 degrees when it started at 6, and it was that kind of air that you breathed in and didn't feel like you were getting any relief.
Oh,
It was
God.
just that warm, thick air, and she just kept on going. And as soon as it finished, like a few hours later, I messaged Tim and said, "Oh, you should have seen this."
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, wow. Well, she might be one to watch at Masters then, Tim.
Yeah, well, she has signed up, and I think she's one to watch. Pato's actually really excited. I've never seen him so excited about a runner.
He looks excited.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah,
But you would have heard in the podcast I did with her, she actually is keen to use her exercise bike between loops to stop it, to make sure she keeps warm.
Yeah.
Especially if it gets cold, because that's the hardest thing. One of the hardest things about backyard ultras is getting up for that loop when you're really tired. You just feel like you're melting into that chair, and you can't move sometimes.
It gets pretty comfy, that chair.
Yeah. But yeah,
Hey, Pato,
yeah.
what are you doing over Easter?
Well, I am doing the Coburg 24-hour track race in April.
Is that the same weekend?
I think it's the week before, the week after.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Pato, why don't you fly up to Dead Cow and crew for Nicole? You probably got Leah. You probably got Leah.
Yeah.
You've got Leah from last time, but what if you had Pato in there?
Well, that would be helpful. I'm trying to rope Charlotte Roberts in too. If she's not here. Yeah.
True. Actually, yeah, she's just focusing on Masters, isn't she?
Yeah.
Pato, come up.
Yeah, well, it definitely sounds good. But I do have a few interstate trips lined up already. Like, I'm signed up for Birdies. And that's going to be a big expense too, because I'm going to have to hire a van from the airport to drive to.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, but hopefully I make the Masters. I'll have to pay to get up there for that too. So I've got to put a cap on the amount of interstate trips I'm going to make. But I would love to come.
Yeah.
Well, Pato, if you come up, I'll pick you up from the airport.
Yeah.
And you can stay in the homestead, in the farmhouse, mate. So VIP.
It sounds good.
It's got to pay for your flights, and you can watch Nicole get a 50 yards.
Only 50? What?
Sorry, 70.
But yeah, Rob, you mentioned Rob Parsons before. Holly Ranson and Rob Parsons, they're my two runners to watch in 2023.
I mean, getting 30 yards at Hysterical in your first backyard, that's pretty big, right? And you reckon she could have kept going? She could have got 40.
Well, it sounded like she was comfortable and she could have kept on going, no problem at all. She's got a really good crew. Like, she had, at the 12-hour race, she had a really good crew with her, and it sounds like she's going to have a good crew at the Masters as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how she does. But yeah, she's a machine. Like, you should have seen this 12-hour race. I just couldn't believe my eyes. She lapped me about 20 times. Yes.
And how did you feel, Pato?
Well, I did 92 Ks. I really wanted to do 100, but it was pretty tough conditions. And I had a fun time. I came second. I came second by 600 meters.
It's
Wow.
so close, really, when you think about it. In the grand scheme of things, of a 12-hour race,
Yeah,
that's very close.
I know. And I had a 7-minute break where I just
Yeah.
laid down for 7 minutes. And I'm going through all the times when I stopped thinking, oh, if I just
Yeah, if only. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we all do that.
Yeah.
What backyard ultra did you do, Pato?
Oh, I've done two. I've done the MVP earlier this year. I did 16 loops at that. That was the first ultra I'd ever done,
Yeah.
as well as first backyard ultra. I also did the GV,
Yeah.
the Shepparton one,
Yeah.
and I did
Mm.
22 at that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that one? Was that good?
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
the
it was awesome.
inaugural.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was heaps of fun, actually.
Yeah.
I'm signed up to do 3 next year. That one in Shepparton, MVP, and Birdies.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that the Masters will be the 4th.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've got a bit of a list for runners to watch next year.
Yeah.
So as I was saying before, like backyard ultras, I think are really about community. And like who wants to be one of the elites and run the first 24 hours without any of the other people there that make it so much fun, you know? So I've got a few, because there's so many people trying to get to 24 hours, right? So obviously my mate Jason Richards, so I think if he does one next year, he'll crack the 24. So he knows he can run over 100 miles. He just did Coast to Cozzy where it's 241k, but he's never been able to do it in a backyard ultra. So I think he's one to watch for like the 24-hour people. Kirsty Ferguson, Liv Compton, Tammy Wickham, all those girls. So they're all around the 24-hour mark. They're gunning for the 24 hours. I think Kirsty and Liv actually did. They surpassed 24 hours this year, actually. But there's just so many people in that zone that I think we're going to see do really well this year.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think we've got a really good base in Australia. I think it keeps on growing, and dead cow this year we had, what, Nicole, was it how many people finished 24 yards? Was it
I think
22 runners?
Yeah.
22? And that was the largest group for a backyard ultra in Australia. So yeah, I think it's just the base keeps growing, and I think that's where all the excitement is, and that's the future, really, if you think about it, growing that base.
Actually saw Laz did a post about 24-hour backyards.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
That seems to be an emerging format, just like a backyard ultra 24.
Yeah.
So just stop at 24.
And then, so how was the winner decided?
Well, it seems to be more of a team thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've often thought about this of doing a 24, and on the last loop, it's the first one that comes back.
Yeah. Oh, imagine that. A sprint. A sprint of 6.7k at 24 hours.
Imagine sprinting the 24th yard. I mean, that'd be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, if there is no winner, it seems like it's more of a team thing. Like how many of us can get across the line?
Yeah.
I forget where I heard it, but I know there is one somewhere in Australia that's a 24-hour backyard ultra, and that they time every runner with a chip.
Oh, yeah.
It's the one who does accumulates the least amount of time.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Mm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is. Then it's speed and endurance.
Yeah. It would bring a whole different mindset to and strategy to the whole thing, I think, a 24-hour one just based compared to an unlimited one. You're always trying to conserve your energy in like a normal backyard ultra. But if you know it's 24, you're going to push yourself a little bit harder in each lap.
Yeah.
Well, you got a finish line, don't you?
Yeah.
You've got a set finish time. So that's huge, isn't it? Yeah, that would be interesting, mate. Like you wouldn't really have to worry about sleep. You'd just charge forward, wouldn't you? Yeah. So what?
Sorry.
Sorry. And what event is that, Pato? Is there one in Australia?
Yeah, it is in Australia, in Victoria somewhere. I think I forget what it's called. I saw it somewhere on the running calendar, but I was working that weekend. I couldn't do it, so I didn't really pay too much more attention after that. But I thought it was an interesting idea.
Yeah.
But it's also a good idea because, like, you can just get away for the weekend, and you don't have to worry about not making work on the Monday and stuff, and like your family can come and camp there with you and stuff like that. And
yeah, just book the hotel. Yeah, I mean, it would play havoc with your family plans, just not knowing when this damn event's going to finish. It's just
it plays havoc on everything.
Yeah, particularly if you got kids. What if you got kids and you got babysitting and
that's what I have to juggle all the time. Yeah. So Tim, when are you going to do another backyard ultra?
like organise or run?
No, run. When are you going to run one?
Well, look, I was kind of I run a little bit. I'm not like you guys. I just don't think I've got the motivation to go big. But I am going to the gym quite a bit, and I am doing some running and doing some cycling. So my PB would be 6 loops. I think it's 5 or 6 loops.
Where was that?
I think I did this at Dead Cow last year or the year before. I
like a training run.
Just by myself. So I don't know, Nicole. I think you got to have the motivation.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I never really liked sports days at school. I used to hate sports days, and I've got this strange thing where I'd feel sick in the stomach.
Yeah.
Whether I won or lost, I would feel it'd be the same feeling. There'd be no feeling of accomplishment if I won an event. I'd still feel anxious and sick.
Wow.
So I'm not sure what that is. And sometimes I would do events. I'd deliberately hold myself back because I had a fear of I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should lie back on the couch and we should have a therapy session.
How long have we got, Pato?
Yeah, I really enjoy just going out and like not telling anyone I'm going for a run. I like the idea of just
you do it more for yourself rather than a race.
I can see if I signed up for an event, it would hold me accountable, like for your training and everything, and joining a running group. But for me personally, I like to just go for a run on the farm or up Runnymede Road and just run for 10, walk for 2, run for 10, walk for 2. Keep the heart rate down. But I'm just I'm probably more interested in just organising a few events and doing a podcast like this.
Yeah.
What predictions for next year? Predictions for 2023?
I think in 2023 we're going to see maybe a bit more female dominance coming through. We have some really, really incredible female backyarders now. Margie, Jess, Charlotte, Nikki. There's so many. So it won't surprise me at all if we see more females now win. And we might even see, for the first time in Australian history, we might see the top 2 as females. Cool. That's one of my predictions.
What event will this happen, Nicole?
Well, it could happen at any. Yeah. There's no prejudice.
Can you handle the heat? Okay. Can you handle like humidity?
Are you talking literally? Can I handle the heat?
Well, when you're running, can you handle the sticky, hot conditions?
Yeah.
So
You train for it, right? You train for that.
maybe. Yeah. So you're going to head up to Old Mates? Is that on the cards?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, God, it was so hot. Like we were, like even people standing around, it was just dripping. But you'd be kind of used. I mean, Brisbane gets pretty damn hot, doesn't it, in summer?
Sometimes,
you'd be used to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying it'll be me. I'm just saying it'll be. I think we'll see that. We'll finally see females. Like if you look at Hysterical Carnage. So in those last 5, 3 of them were women.
That's got to be a first, right?
Not sure. Yeah, so it would have been really good to see how that one panned out.
Yeah. It was a shame it was cancelled.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Do you agree with that, Pato? You reckon there's going to be some big female performers next year?
Yeah, well, there's no reason why not. Like, I mean, there are some absolute gun female runners. All you need is like a few more in the race. It's because often like they are male dominated events a lot of the time. So if you obviously it's a bit of a numbers game. If you've got more females, they're more likely to do well. And like there's a lot of good ones like Margie Hadley. I really do think Holly Vanson will be a superstar.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what she can do now.
Yeah.
If given the chance, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any predictions, Tim, or do you have any more predictions, Nicole?
I think we'll see probably something really big from Ryan Crawford, bigger than what he's done before. I think he's probably got a bit of a fire in his belly now, just to see if he can push himself further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
I'd like
big time.
Yeah.
He would have learned a lot from that Miriam Wernert race. Like he knows that he needs to manage his sleep a bit better. And once he gets that under control, he knows that he'll be able to do. I reckon he can do 100. Well, one of my predictions is I reckon 100 yards will be broken at the Australian Masters.
I think you could be right.
Yeah, I think Ryan. I think he's that good that he can. Most events he turns up to, he wins. And but with Phil, that was his biggest challenge he's had in terms of ultra running, I believe. So if he can sort that out, if he can have a couple of crew rotating, if he can come up with a sleep plan, I know for a fact, and Nicole's right, he has got fire in the belly.
He's quite phenomenal, really. His mental toughness.
Yeah. I think most events, through my conversations with him, he's such a good runner. He can, some events he can just enter half cooked and still win. But Phil was the big one for him, and he came up short. So I think once these two go head to head again, I think it could be something special because he really has motivation now. He's got a reason. He's got a reason to really go for it.
Yeah.
And
look, if he can't find crew, we can provide crew for him. We've got plenty of resources here. So I think Phil and Ryan, I think this will be a thing for the next 5 or 6 years. I can see these guys going head to head multiple times.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing at Masters. I'm seeing Phil Gore up against Harvey Lewis. I feel like Phil needs someone who can take him to his absolute limit. He's only been defeated once in every race he's done. I think it's just once, and that was to Michael Hooker in 2020. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see Phil get to that point, the breaking point, that point that we all want to get to find out what we have.
Yeah. Well, my other prediction for 2023 is that Phil will be the last one standing at Biggs.
Wow.
Yeah.
I reckon he's that good.
He is good. I mean, the thing with Phil is he's obsessed. He's absolutely obsessed.
Yeah.
And he came to Mirror to win it.
Yeah.
And he put everything in place to win it. I think other runners, they're a bit more carefree and a bit more casual. But he's so driven that I'd agree with that, Pato. I reckon. Well, people must know who he is now, right? I know Harvey Lewis definitely knows who Phil is now.
Yeah.
This is a real challenge for Harvey. I think it's game on.
What's Harvey's record?
He's got 85, I believe. That's his PB.
Yeah, it's 85.
Yeah, that was last year, right?
Yeah, he was the world record holder for a time, wasn't he? With 85, I think.
So yeah, he had that incredible year where he won Badwater, and he got the new world record, 85 loops. That was his a stellar year. So yeah, well, we've lined up another doco, guys. So
oh, cool. For the Masters or for Dead Cow Gully?
Nah, just for the Masters, mate. So it's going to be
You're using the same videographer?
Yep. So Dan Hayter from Wide Lens Media. So he's going to come out and the doco's paid for, and it'll be probably a little bit longer. And he's prepared to stay for quite a few days. So we just have to try to choose someone as good as Nicole to interview. It's a pretty hard act to follow.
I know. No, he did a really good job.
Yeah.
He really captured the essence of Backyard Ultras.
It's had almost 100,000 views now. I saw.
Yeah, well, Nicole said she's viewed it 500 times, so she's
560 now.
It's pretty cool. With the views, about 40% of the views have actually come from the UK.
Oh, that's
really interesting. Yeah, they've had the most views. So the UK, the US, and then I think Australia comes in third. So
yeah, wow.
Yeah, the UK seem to be pretty. They must like the whole, the whole country Queensland thing. I think they must like that.
I think there's a few. When you YouTube Backyard Ultra, there's a couple of other docos like just a bit more amateurish, but I think there are a couple of English ones there. So the English people do like their Backyard Ultra docos.
Yeah, well, my prediction for 2023 is I think Nicole will probably at least beat her course record at Dead Cow. So So she's sitting at 30. Thing about Nicole, it sounds strange talking about her.
I know, it just feels really weird.
Thing about Nicole was every runner there said Nicole could actually win this damn thing. Chris Murphy said, and it came up in the doco that that one of his top picks was Nicole. So looking strong the whole time, and I think it was just, you can speak for yourself, Nicole, but did you feel nauseous? Did you feel nauseous in the end? Your stomach was playing up in that loop, or had you just you'd achieved what you wanted to achieve, and you just sort of said, "Let's call it a day"?
I was slightly nauseous on lap 31, trying to get down to the gully. It just sort of, and this is what I've learned for backyard ultras, is never set a goal, never have a number, because I guarantee as soon as you hit it, your race is going to be over. There's no doubt about that. A switch goes off in your head that you have no control over, and then that's it. And that's what happened for me. I got the course record, the female course record, and suddenly I was just satisfied. And so I guess I used feeling nauseous as an excuse. And then I hear the way that you speak about how Ryan and Phil are at, the pointy end of races, and it makes me realize I haven't even scratched the surface. If that's the condition that they're in, and I'm going, oh, I feel nauseous. It just goes to show we've all got so much more, and I regretted it. I really regretted it in the days after Dead Cow Gully. I became really disappointed with myself for stopping, especially given Josh and Baz only went for 5 or 6 more laps.
And the thing is, Nicole, you probably haven't reached that survival mode yet, that limp mode.
No.
Like, you haven't reached that Ross McPhee mode where you're not going to win it, and you're getting slower and slower, but you just consistently you probably haven't reached that.
No, not at all.
Stage.
Not at all. Yeah. So yes, I would agree with your prediction, Tim. I'll certainly be giving it a crack at Dead Cow Gully.
I think, Pato, I think I'd agree. I think 100. I think 100 is within sight. Whether that happens at the Masters, whether it happens at Bigs, I don't know, but I think the Dead Cow course is just going to be so good because it's low elevation. The time of year, it's ideal. The heat won't be an issue. The night course would be great because, again, it's a bit of variation. I should measure this tomorrow, but I think it's probably about 20 meters elevation, the road loop. And I think it'd be a pretty cool atmosphere. And just to have Harvey around, I think, is going to really G people up. If you rock up to an event and you know that Harvey's flowing all the way out from the US to be there, I don't think you're going to just, I think you're going to leave everything out in the course. You're just going to keep going and going and going and going. So,
you'd want to impress him, I reckon. You'd want to either be one of the last ones with him so you can actually spend some time with him out there. And just, that's what I like. I just want to impress him. Just do everything I could do to stay out there as long as I could. I'm looking forward to next year. I can't wait.
And Badwater's, by all accounts, it's one of the hardest races in the world. And I think Harvey's been there 9 or 10 times. So I think someone else has done more Badwaters than him, but he's right up there. I think he's probably number 2 or 3. He just loves it. He just loves that event. So,
well, you mentioned Nikki Wind before. She's won Badwater before.
Yeah. She's something like she's the 3rd fastest female for that course or something.
Wow.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
And she's just so down to earth.
Hey, Tim, have you been involved in any of like the discussions, like if you're going to be part of the bronze or silver ticket thing next year?
Yeah, look, I haven't applied for it, Pato. I did. I know that when I was in discussions with Harvey, he said, "Oh, do you want to apply for a gold ticket for Masters?" And look, I reached out to Laz, and it seems like it's very difficult to get another gold ticket. And the impression I got from Laz was, look, if you want to get to bigs, it's more about a high loop number. It's all about the yards you accumulate, not so much about the tickets. So, yeah, mate, I didn't apply for a silver ticket, and yeah, I'm not sure if I really agree with the ticketing system in general. Like, I think it should be more of an even playing field. I think either, every event has a golden ticket, or we have no golden tickets.
Because I mean, there's not that many races anyway, really, is there? Like, and
yeah,
I mean, there's opportunities to run a high number and make the Australian team. So
yeah. So Laz, the email he sent was he said it's, yeah, if you want to get to bigs, your best chance is just to get a high total. That's how you get in. Yeah, so
which is okay in theory, but then you're relying on the person on your assist, so you kind of.
I mean, because I kind of like, but I mean, because obviously I haven't done anything in my backyard ultra running career yet, but I mean, making the Australian team, that's kind of like what appeals to me the most. I reckon running in that team would just be the best experience, especially after watching what it was like at Miriam.
It'd be pretty special.
Yeah, and if there was a silver ticket, I mean, I would chase a silver ticket race if there was one. Yeah.
I think, in all honesty, mate, I think my pride's probably getting in the way. I think I tried to apply for the gold, I missed out, and getting a silver ticket's almost like a bit of a downgrade. So maybe it's just my pride that's getting in the way. But yeah, I just sort of think, yeah, I don't know about these golden tickets. It sort of seems, what in Australia, how many golden tickets are there? Are there 2 events with golden tickets?
I think it's only the Australian champs. That's it.
Oh, right.
To get a golden ticket, you win the Australian champs. And the only other tickets are bronze and silvers. A bronze ticket gets you into a silver race.
Yeah,
and winning a silver ticket gets you an automatic spot on the Australian team.
Oh, gotcha.
And Ross McPhee and Tim Kay, they were the 2 silver ticket runners in the Australian team that we just had.
I thought Miriam Werner was their normal event. I thought that was a golden ticket event. Just their normal.
It was a silver to get into the Australian team. A gold, yeah, because a golden ticket is the ticket to bigs.
Gotcha. Right.
Have either of you been to Birdies before?
No. I'd like to get there one day.
Because you would have seen that it's the venue of the next satellite World Championships for the Australian team. So
yeah, I'll probably get over there for that one. I have been invited by Sean to come across. So yeah, I heard it's a similar vibe to Dead Cow, but I think Sean, he's really done some good work over there in WA, and yeah, his documentary came out first. Have you seen Sean's documentary, the Birdies?
Yeah,
documentary from a couple of years ago.
The one where Phil Gore's first one, and he Michael Hooker won.
That's it. It.
That was a good one too, wasn't it?
It's a good doco. Yeah.
And the other one the Unlimit, I think it's called, the one where Phil Gore comes back and wins, and Big Kev is the assist. That's a great one too.
Mm.
But the thing with Birdies, I'm pretty sure because it's a camping ground that they'll have an amenities block. So if they can set up the start, not the corral near there, and kind of like have incorporate the amenities block into where the runners get ready, whatever you call it, that would be perfect. That's how Belgium did it. They had a big hall with bedrooms in it and stuff. So they were able to, they were all in a big hall, so they weren't affected by the cold weather and stuff like that.
That's genius.
Yeah.
Tim, as a race director, how is the venue selected?
This venue, like Dead Cow? Or?
No, for like the team event or the Worlds event.
Oh, right. So, yeah, we've got a little race director messenger group, and we just sort of chat amongst each other, and I think Sean wanted to take it on.
Mm-hmm.
And
did you guys like have a vote, or does Laz ultimately decide? Or
didn't really have an official vote. I think Sean threw his hat in the ring and said, do you think it's fair that the WA takes on an event, because it was at Clint Eastwood, Miriam Wernett? Yeah, it would make sense if it was in Western Australia or South Australia. So yeah, no one really contested Sean. I think everyone was happy that it was going to happen at Birdies, and then yeah, maybe next time I might put my hand up. But yeah, by all accounts, I think Birdies is a really cool course and really good venue, and a real carnival atmosphere there.
With the Backyard Masters, is that going to be an annual event?
I had to think about this on my ride today, Pato, and I'm thinking it'll be a biannual event, so every 2 years, because I don't want to clash. I don't want to clash with Bigs.
The timing of it is perfect as a preparation race for Bigs as well.
Yeah.
So biannual is perfect, I reckon.
I reckon every 2 years. So yeah, and that period where you can qualify will be like an over 18-month period. So it'll be from January to May, over 18 months. Is that 18 months? Have I got my calculations right?
Sounds about right.
It's close. It's close to 18 months, yeah. Do you think that's a good idea, mate? Because I just think if I put it on again the next year, it could clash with the main show.
I reckon biannually is a good idea. It makes it special as well. Every second year.
Yeah. The
only thing that would be a good thing about having it every year is that if it was this year, or no, if it was this time next year, it would also be part of the qualifying period for making the Australian team. Oh, would it? Actually, I'm not too sure. I'm jumbled up now. But no, I think biannually is perfect.
Yeah.
Because you've got the Gully every year anyway. And then you're gonna have bull camps soon as well.
Yeah. Well, we have to put that on ice, mate, because it's just I'm just trying to sort of juggle all these balls. I'm a bit of a one-man band, because I have to get the course ready, and it's also the flights for Harvey, return flights for Harvey, and return flights for his crew. I think Judd's going to come across, one of his crew. Then you got the cost of the documentary. So it's straight away you're looking at a pretty big loss. But I'm prepared to take that loss. I've got other sources of income from my normal day job. But yeah, I just don't think I could carry that. Return flights every year. I just don't think I can do that.
Yeah.
So
No, I think
But-
it lines up perfectly.
yeah, man, it's going to be a challenge. It's 9 weeks from dead cow, but in many respects, the course is already going to be ready. Everything's going to be ready. I might just have to give it one final mow, and yeah, I'm really, really, really excited. Harvey's going to be staying in the farmhouse, and we're going to do a little podcast
Yeah,
the
cool.
day before. So we're going to film that podcast the day before.
Is
So
that with
yeah,
you, Pato? Are you doing that podcast?
I don't think
No.
so.
Oh,
unless you want to.
but Pato, you can do whatever you want. You can anything you want, you can do on the farm. But yeah, this is with Dan. So Dan, who does the documentary.
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm paying him extra to do like a podcast, to film the podcast in the farmhouse. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's been like an hour and 40 minutes, so it's been.
I know.
That felt like 15 minutes.
Yeah. This is what happens when you put 3 people together who live and breathe backyard ultras.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pato, just a big congratulations to you, mate, for your podcast. So,
Oh,
you've had
thanks.
some really good guests on. And the great thing about you is you actually let people speak. You're not interrupting people. You've got a very gentle, calm voice and approach, and it's pretty clear that you're passionate about backyard ultras. And yeah, I think everyone out there, I'm not sure what your numbers are, mate, but I hope they're growing because everyone's really impressed with what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, mate. And thanks for coming on. And also, you were the first ever guest too. So that was really good of you to say yes to a podcast that didn't even exist at the time.
That was a great podcast, mate. Yeah, I really appreciated that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks, Nicole, for coming on as well.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Hopefully I'll see you both in person at a race soon.
Yeah, sometime next year.
Yeah.
Now, Pato, should we do this? Should we do this every year? Did you want to lock us in?
Yeah, 100%.
Can we be reoccurring guests to wrap up the year?
We'll be your recap.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
It's been lots of fun.
Yeah. Well, all the best over the new year at your races and everything like that. And thanks for coming on. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Stay safe.
Yeah, you too. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, it would be awesome if you could share, comment, like, subscribe, all of that. If you've got any feedback, shoot me a message. Hope you have a great day. See ya.